on this life journey, when you talked about just how is your values have evolved. So yes, you have found an alignment with your purpose and values in your most recent roles, but how your values have evolved from childhood and your growing up years.
Yeah, I'll put up my heart on the sleeve here. So I'm gay, and growing up gay in the 80s was a very challenging period of time, both in terms of the background I came from, in terms of my family background, in terms of my geographical background, living in, not an urban center, and the time period, when the AIDS crisis was hitting the world, and there was a lot of stigma around being gay. So I hid myself from a long time, and I hid myself from others for a long time. And I think what that created for me for certainly a period in my younger adulthood was a belief that I couldn't really be who I am without putting myself at some sort of risk, physical and or emotional risk, and didn't, that's a misalignment within myself around who I am and who I appear to be to others. And with the advantage of maturity, with the advantage of time in terms of the way that society's views have changed, with the advantage of having some courage around really, living my true self, what I've realized is that above and beyond, above everything is the most important thing.
Powerful. To
stand true for what you are and what you believe in. And one of my strongest values is around justice, like a sense of fairness, a sense of what is right.
And basic human values.
Basic human values, a sense of equity. And that, I'm certain, comes from partially is driven by my experiences growing up and hiding who I was for all sorts of reasons. So I am now not prepared to be that person that I was when I was younger. I still have a lot of respect for that person I was when I was younger, but I'm prepared to stand true for my values and my sense of purpose around trying to make things right.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that part of you. And that's what the value is. I think when you talk about working for people with disabilities, you can reflect that you want to provide equity, you want to provide fairness, and you want to provide the equal entitlement for everybody and equal chances. Going further into the conversation, could you talk a bit more on were the situations across your working life when you were working in as management consultant, when you felt misaligned with what you were doing, and how did it, and what were those interactions with organizations, and what did you do around the purpose thing around when you felt misaligned?
So working as a management consultant, great career opportunity and great opportunity to, as I said earlier, experience the diversity of industry sectors across Western Australia and to really understand what drives business in many different situations and circumstances. So I was working with businesses in the resources sector, in the transport and logistics sector, in the healthcare sector, in the disability sector, as I said. And what I saw, where the misalignment may have occurred in some instances, was where the commercial interests outweighed the human interests in the work that I was doing. And I have an MBA. I've worked in business for a long time. I get the commercial side of things. I get shareholder dividend. But at the same time, when that infringes or impinges on an organization's ability to treat its people right, that was conflicting for me. So that's probably to some extent why I ended up with the strongest portfolio for me was around the disability sector and the not-for-profit sector, because that was my way of ensuring that I didn't experience that misalignment of purpose.